Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to Starladder Season 8, Day 22 coverage here on Beyond the Summit. I am Zyori. Joining me for the last time before his winter break is going to be Synderen. Last time being today, not this match, but last day of Synderen. So, 7 good ones coming up, and we're here with game number 3. The Gauntlet of Fnatic continues on, now up against Team Empire. And as we've been mentioning, all important matches today, but this one particularly important for Team Empire. Fnatic now, following their last 2 wins, will move into 7-2, position 7 in the round-robin standings of the 16 remaining teams. And Empire right now, they're in position 10. They are 7-4. And with 4 losses, they absolutely need this one to still have a chance to make it to the top 4. If they take this as a loss and move into 7-5, I think that will squander their hopes of moving into that top 4 to make it to the LAN finals. So a big game for Team Empire. They're all big for Fnatic. So, with that said, Synderen, my friend, how are you feeling coming into this match?
5 seconds remaining.
You said it. You said it. Empire really have to win this one to keep hopes alive. It might even not be enough, but they need to play for it in case it does end up favoring them.
Yeah.
Since they do have 4 losses, it's possible that there are 4 teams all going to be ending with 3 losses, maybe one of them even with 2, maybe even 2 of them even with 2 is still possible, I believe. But yeah, this is, of course, if they lose this game, I think they're out. I am pretty sure there's going to be 4 teams in the top 4 with 4 losses or less. So Empire, they have to put on their A game right now. And I have to say, now that we've followed the Starladder over the last few days with all the drafts, I think Timbersaw has an awful score. To my memory. I think this hero has lost like almost every single game and hasn't really had the impact that teams were hoping for. I know Fnatic won the last game, but to be honest, I'm not sure how big of a part of that was really Trixie's Timbersaw either. It was just amazing play out of the IO and Storm Spirit in particular that won that game. Timbersaw didn't even really start catching on in that game because it ended at like 14 minutes, so... I don't know. I feel like this hero might be,
10 seconds
picking it in the first 2 might be a thing a little bit of the past. Not the distant past, but maybe a few weeks ago. Because it seems like teams are just way better dealing with it. They're playing better against it, they're putting better lanes against it, and just not giving it the space that that hero really needs to become that snowballing force. At least, that's how I feel about it. I haven't really seen Timbersaw being as strong as he was, a month ago, let's say.
Yeah, I would sort of agree. It'd be interesting statistically to try and figure that out, though I don't know that Dat Dota will make our lives easy on that front, sorting by tournament, by hero, and then win percentage. I don't know that they have those filters to that level of specificity. Yeah, that's right. But I'm more surprised that teams are still letting Elder Titan get through against Fnatic. Certainly today, and even recently, they've really been valuing the Tauren Chieftain, Elder Titan, whatever you want to call him. And they're going to first pick him once again here. Team Empire will ban out the Enchantress and Visage, 2 heroes that Fnatic absolutely love to play. But handing over that Elder Titan, I think Fnatic will be happy with it. They'll grab themselves the OD, as they did have the luxury of second pick. And they can ban out some of those counters, as we see. Razor 4th banned here. And also Wisp not banned out yet. Team Empire will ban out the Enigma, another hero that Fnatic like to run sometimes. And they may be pondering here, should we ban out the Wisp? No, going to ban out another jungler. It is going to be Chen. So Wisp could very well still be an option here. Fnatic might want to just stick to their guns and grab themselves an IO Storm Spirit duo with these next 2 picks.
I don't think it's something Fnatic will have in their minds from the get-go that that's something that they want. They're going to pick it if it's the right scenario for it. And if Empire pick very strong lanes, then the IO Storm Spirit is, when you think about it, a pretty weak lane. They don't really do too much. The synergy isn't that good either, but of course can run it as a dual lane mid in those scenarios where they can't put in an easy lane, which they did against SSD. So I think Fnatic wants to wait it out a little bit. They might pick the IO 3rd, but I don't think they're going to pick the Storm Spirit as their 4th pick. They want to pick that last like they did in the last game, unless if Empire really shows a hand that's too weak at going for an aggressive kind of lane that can punish the Storm Spirit and IO. Gonna see. I'm still surprised that teams are letting it go through, though. I feel like it's an unnecessary risk for Empire, and I think the IO ban would have been more important than a Chen ban, which I think it's been a very long time since I've seen Fnatic play Chen. They kind of exclusively put the Enchantress or Enigma in that jungle position. Yeah, and I think about it, I mean, yeah, sure, Enchantress is a hero that No-Tail plays very well, is very scary with, but I would be much more intimidated to go up against the Wisp than I would even the Visage for that matter. Still, I think Visage Wisp, if you want to ban out some of those No-Tail heroes first, might be a better duo. But yeah, I definitely agree that Chen, I can't even remember the last time I saw Fnatic play a Chen. It's been a while.
So, but Empire will grab Shadow Demon. Alas, it will not be that double banish on the same side here. They will snipe that and prevent Fnatic from snagging the Shadow Demon themselves. But interesting that Shadow Demon is really getting a lot of love. I thought it may have just been a little phase, but he's back, and there it is. Wisp's going to be third pick.
I was just getting excited because I convinced myself that it was Empire picking the IO, so I was like, oh, they're going to block pick it. Nope, that was actually Fnatic's pick, so never mind me. I'm having my own little bit of brain lapse here, and there is the planned counterpick from Empire. And it's interesting to see, because I think no other team than Empire picks Silencer, and they still do it. I'm thinking back a few months even. Empire was a team that loved picking Silencer. They've picked it regularly over the last few months. I'm not sure if their record with it is that good, but I love that they stick to it and really believe in it, even though they lose with it. Empire, I don't know. I don't feel like any other team at the moment is picking Silencer, but it's a great counterpick to IO for the simple reason that when you relocate in to start a fight or start a gank, the Silencer Global Silence will disallow IO and the following hero to get off the kind of gank they want and basically just get turned on. So it's still risky though, because Silencer first of all needs to reach level 6 and he's not the strongest support, so if once again we see a dual lane IO mid, IO will reach level 6 before the Silencer and start having an impact, and it's also about how much they do in the lane. IO +1, if they win the lane, then Silencer is not enough of a counter, but love the idea, and I feel it's cool.
Also, there's just a big disparity in cooldowns. Global Silence, 140 seconds. Relocate doesn't actually show up here on this picking phase, but the cooldown is significantly shorter, fair to say.
I think it's 100, then 80, then 60. I think
180, then 60.
There is Tiny, so I'm gonna look up the cooldown on that just to be sure, but I'm pretty sure I got that.
And especially at as EO levels up, especially at level 11, that's going to be an even larger disparity as Global Silence does stay steady at 140 at all 3 levels. It's just the duration of the silence.
Alright, I had it wrong.
Increases. What was it?
It's 90, 75, and 60, unless if I'm completely wrong. So yeah, similar though. It's actually even better than I said. I said 180 and 60, and it is in fact 90, 75, 60, so even better. And you're right, the disparity between cooldowns is definitely a good point, because that means that the second time relocate is up, there's not that counter available. The question is if Empire can get a solid win off of 1 or 2 global silences, because if you do that, then the Silencer pick has made it worth it. But it's kind of a hit or miss hero. I feel like Silencer sometimes almost wins games on his own by incredible global silences, and in other games he's just completely, not useless, but just lackluster compared to other heroes that you could have chosen.
Yeah, definitely. And I do like the Tiny choice here. I was thinking it was either going to be Tiny or Ursa, one of those pairings with the Wisp that's a little bit less reliant on cooldowns and abilities and can just throw out some really powerful right clicks. Tiny, of course, does have the stun, does have the toss, but once he gets that Ags, he'll be hitting pretty hard, and, well, Ursa could have worked here pretty well also. So, still at least mitigating some of the counter from that Silencer. Invoker actually going to be the final ban from Fnatic. Venomancer banned out by Empire. Actually a little bit curious to see what support Fnatic are going to grab here. A lot of the supports have been banned out. Basically, all supports from Team Empire. A lot of junglers, but limiting a lot of the options from Fnatic. They banned out a couple of themselves, the Alchemist as well as the Crystal Maiden. So, some of it may depend on what Empire wants to do with their final pick, but thoughts about what Fnatic could possibly grab to pair with that EO support?
We haven't seen Fly playing Windrunner for a while, and it's one of his favorite heroes to play as a support, so I think it's definitely one of the ones Fnatic might be considering. It's not that good here, there's no obvious setup for Shackle Shot. I like to say Windrunner is the best in a support role when the enemy team has heroes that need to get in close, because then your probability of landing a good Shackle is a lot higher. But Empire likes to fight from a range here. Only Timbersaw will really get in close, and going to be a little bit hard to land a good Shackle Shot here. Of course, still obviously very much possible. It's not so that you can't do it, but makes it a little bit of a better pick when the enemy is playing a melee sort of carry or support. So we'll see. It's still an option for Fnatic. What else do they tend to play on Fly? The Enigma is out, the Venomancer is out, the...
Could it be possible to do a support Elder Titan here and grab a Nature's Prophet for the offlane? That would be weird, but something they could still pull off if they wanted.
Very unlikely, I think. I think Elder Titan IO is an awful support combo. That's going to be my opinion. They can't really do too much together. So.
Alright, maybe that was a silly suggestion. I'll concede that one.
Well, we'll see. Maybe you're right. I mean, we've seen it in the past. Elder Titan support is not something that hasn't been done before, especially
True.
Na'Vi has liked to experience with it, but I don't know whether we've seen it combined with an IO, because I think they just... Elder Titan, if he's a support, he needs the other support to be the one opening the ganks and enabling Elder's kit to kind of work. And right now, Fnatic just doesn't really have that. I don't think they're going to do that. My guess is still going to be the Windrunner.
Venge
with
could be
the
an
lack
option
of better
too.
ideas. Sorry?
Vengeful Spirit could be an option as well.
Vengeful could also, yeah, that's true. Fly has played that as well. We're gonna see they come down
the
to
Rubik.
Rubik. Yeah,
could we
of course.
forget about Rubik?
Yeah, he plays Rubik as well. That's very true. And nice pick here, mainly because Empire has two heroes that are mobile. Both Puck and Mirana, with Leap and Illusory Orb, of course, can make a lot of jukes. But this instant stun is something very powerful against these two heroes in order to allow his team to really get in. And of course, I don't think we should expect him to steal Global Silence, because that's kind of hard. Then the Global Silence needs to go off, and then Vanscore needs to not cast another spell before Rubik can cast Spell Steal, so...
It's possible,
it's kind
but
of
rough.
Yeah, it's very unlikely. You generally like to steal big spells with Spell Steal, but it's not only about stealing the ultimates. There's a lot of other spells you can steal that are very useful. I think Spell Stealing Disruption here could be a really big spell to take. Mirana's Arrow as well makes for some good setups, and Dream Coil from Puck too.
Yep.
So definitely not lacking spells to steal here that will be useful for himself and his team. And Smoke here from Empire, they're looking for blood. They might actually find it if Trixie... why does it always have to be Trixie? No, okay, he's going to take another path here. It's actually going to be... Oh, No-Tail, very nicely played here. Gets the ward out, breaks the smoke. Excellent play. I thought for a moment Trixie was going to wander into the woods. That would have been his death right there.
Yeah, maybe he was thinking about it, but that's one of those plays, and you sort of wonder, was that intentional by No-Tail? Was he suspicious that a smoke was coming by, or did he just happen to be in the right place at the right time trying to get this ward down? I mean, either way, it ended up being a good play, but I always wonder that, if that was intentional or not from No-Tail. It's hard to say.
I'm pretty sure his positioning was intentional. Of course, he didn't know they were coming per se, but...
Yeah.
He was expecting it could be happening. When you have a Shadow Demon in Mirana, you love going for First Bloods, because Disruption Arrow is kind of a safe kill, unless the enemy team has some really good space making, like a Fissure or something, to buy time, so...
Well, they have an Astral of their own.
It was likely. And Astral, that's true. But it's only a level 1, so not really the best.
Very true.
Still, does make a difference.
So let's talk about these lanes a little bit. Of course, on the Radiant side, we will have Team Fnatic. And down in the bottom lane, it is going to be a duo. Fly playing on the Rubik, and Trixie going to be on the Elder Titan. In the mid, it will be Hani playing on the Outworld Devourer. And up top, it will be Era playing on Tiny, and he'll be supported by No-Tail playing the Wisp, of course, here on the... Dire side, we've got Team Empire. And they will have a tri-lane down here in the bottom. Always Want to Fly, going to be on the Shadow Demon. Vanscore going to be playing on the Silencer. And Silent will be hard farming away on that Mirana. We see the supports in a pretty aggressive position, but of course it is warded up by Fnatic. Compliments of that No-Tail ward he threw down, and they know exactly what's going on, and they will position themselves accordingly, properly so. Mag going to be solo mid on the Elder... Why did I say Elder Titan? On the Timber Saw here up against the OD. And of course up top it will be Resolution on a solo safe lane Puck. So an interesting change of pace here for Empire, trying to make Puck's life just a little bit easier, because OD does fare very well against the Fairy Dragon.
Does fare very well against Timbersaw as well, though, but Mag has done very well on these first two creep waves. He got 6 out of the 8 possible CS against an OD who has significantly higher damage than him. Yeah. I think he only used Whirling Death once, so has just been more on the timing there with the last hits. But I'm imagining Hani will be taking over this lane very quickly. He's already leading now because of his 2 denies, and this is an awful lane for Timbersaw, as I've been pointing out in the previous casts. I think if OD gets a free lane here, he's going to outfarm Timbersaw by 2 times or maybe even 3 times the last hits once we get a little bit further. But at least Mag will have a fast bottle because of the first few he got.
Yeah. Could be a little bit worse, but this is one of these situations where Empire, they don't really have a great hero to go mid and try and contest that OD. I guess Timbersaw is best suited for it based on their lineup, and that's really not saying much, as we kind of keep going back to here. I mean, would you have rather see someone else on this lineup go mid, or do you think Timbersaw really is best suited, even though he still is not a great choice?
They could have put a Shadow Demon Mirana mid, for example, a dual lane against Hani, and then just try a Timbersaw off lane and put the Silencer as support for Puck up top. But the point is, they don't really know how Fnatic is laning. It's always the mind game about how the lanes are being put, and they couldn't really know for sure what's going to happen. And it will be a trade-off regardless, because what they've done now is going to give them a lot of a better bottom lane, but it will give Hani the lane he wants. So it's a question of what you want to lock down. But the problem, I think, right now for Empire is that Hani is getting a good lane, and Era and No-Tail are getting a good lane at the same time. That's the two lanes they really don't want to be going well. They don't want the IO to Sky experience, and they don't want the Tiny to have free farm in the beginning. So I really feel like Fnatic have got the better deal right now in terms of laning, even though Empire are getting a slight XP and gold lead.
Yep. And Trixie is now going to be solo down here in the bottom as Rubik will rotate. Fly actually did smoke up, and now he's headed up to the top lane, so they may try and set up a gank here. And Trixie actually faring pretty well in what is now a 1v2, just Shadow Demon and Mirana. As you mentioned, Vanscore did rotate up top with the silencer there. So now Fly, his smoke is going to be broken, and he is going to try and pop forward here. The tether going to be used. Out come the Spirits, and they're not going to find it. Vanscore and Resolution going to position themselves very defensively, and that will thwart some of Fly's efforts here. Though he's going to hang around, recognizing that his services aren't really needed down in the bottom. Trixie actually going to get disrupted. Silent going to hop forward. Yeah, maybe I spoke too soon. Trixie in trouble here. One more auto attack going to finish him off, and down he goes. Shadow Demon going to grab the last hit there. Always want to Fly, will finish him. So I guess I spoke too soon. I guess Trixie does need the help down there in the bottom. And this rotation will cost him.
It's very hard playing a solo hero against Shadow Demon Mirana. He's got the hardest lane here. And I think Fnatic, with the rotation from Rubik here, it was actually a good idea, but Fly didn't manage to reach the telekinesis on the puck there. Else that could have been first blood for Fnatic. But to be honest, it kind of turned out to be just a wasted rotation right now. I mean, sure, they're going to put a bit of pressure up here now that he's there, but I think they're paying a bigger price than what they're gaining. Bottom lane again, Trixie. Oh, the arrow from Silent just off the mark here, and Trixie's actually going to go ham.
Yep.
A little bit of ham here. Very much so. Gonna get some hits. He can't pursue that one.
And up top, looks like we could see an engage. There was a pull from Vanscore, and they are going to intercept it. We see some illusions here from the Wisp. See, the illusions look different.
Wow, we can see that those are illusions.
Exactly.
Yay.
Someone tweeted at me and said, he's just particles. How do you want to change it? I'm like, I don't know. Up the transparency, put a dot over his head. I don't care. Just give me something. Some sort of a
Put
graphic.
a hat on him when he has an invis.
A hat. There you go. That would be perfect. Right up Valve's alley. Oh, man. So I'll keep harping on that here. And I think you're right, though. This rotation coming up from Fly is definitely not worth it because they're not really denying too much farm from Puck. Resolution doing very well. He's 17-8 against the 21-7 Tiny, so there is an edge the way of Era, but Resolution shouldn't really be too upset with his performance so far. He's soaked up a good bit of farm, and he's well on his way to level 6. He is sharing some experience with Vanscore here, but level 5. So all in all, Puck faring pretty well. I think definitely better than he would be in the mid, but I caught that one. And Timbersaw just going to get juiced. Hani with 3 insta-steals.
Play from Fnatic. Getting the level 2 natural order in there to do extra damage on that OD ult and just blew up the Timbersaw. I don't think he was expecting that one. That was sick.
That was sick. That was just, I mean, he had a lot of health. That was a really big Sanity's Eclipse. Like I said, he had 3 insta-steals, then the natural order. That's how you do it, folks. That's how you set up a kill on that tanky Timbersaw. And Fnatic going to level it up here, 1-1. Always want to Fly now, going to rotate mid and hold the lane while Mag comes back. And huge disparity, though, in the mid. Obviously, level 5 Timbersaw, now level 7 OD. 32-22 on the OD and 13-2 on the Timbersaw. Pretty obvious here that Hani has really run away with this lane.
Was to be expected as well.
Yep.
As I said, probably twice or 3 times the farm. He's already up to 3 times the farm at 6, which is very good performance from Hani coming out on OD as always. One of his best mid-heroes, together with that Invoker, I would say, are probably his 2 best ones as far as playing in the lane goes. Has been doing excellently so far. And Empire it's just not working for them right now, I have to say. They're not getting what they need out of the mid. I think Hani will go for a very early Midas by the looks of it. Of course, that means he's going to run out of mana for his Astral unless he gets a proc on the Essence Aura now. But since Mag can't even come in close, I don't think it matters that much.
Yeah,
so,
this is one of these scenarios where I really like the Midas on OD. He's got a lot of room so far, and I think that may continue to grow. So I would say that's probably a smart choice, though. Fly in the jungle here. He may be in a little bit of trouble. Always want to Fly. Going to put him in the disruption. Mag lining it up with the Chakram. Instant telekinesis. The Fade Bolt. Fly is going to fall, but in comes the support. Era going to be able to do a big bit of damage to Mag. And actually the Moonlight Shadow. Timber Chain away. Nope. EO going to be able to finish him off. And some support coming in from Empire now. Again, Moonlight Shadow still active. Going to expire just now. And Fnatic looking perhaps for another opening, but they won't find it. Hani without the mana. Actually, he does have the mana for the Sanity's Eclipse, still on cooldown. But, now Trixie in trouble. He'll get connected upon by an arrow as compliments of that disruption. But Fnatic still ready to pursue the telekinesis back straight into the Tiny. And that'll make another easy kill. Now Mirana goes down. Still not over quite yet. Astral Imprisonment comes out onto the Shadow Demon, and they should be able to pursue this pretty easily. It looks like they wanted to give it to the Tiny. I'm afraid he might scoot out, so the support's just going to finish it off. Fly going to grab that one. Fnatic going to get the better of the exchange, though, needless to say. 4-3 here at the 8-minute mark.
Funnily enough, though, Empire is still leading on experience. I'm not sure what this is attributed to right now. I guess it's the fact that Puck got so much out of the top lane compared to the Elder Titan. A bit of a difference in the two heroes there, and Silent also level 7. So Empire is still holding on nicely in terms of the graphs, but in the grander scheme of things, once Io hits level 6, and Tiny is already level 6 as well, it's going to be a lot harder for them. And Silencer is level 4, and we talked about how it's going to be important when that global silence becomes available, and Relocate will be available way earlier.
Yeah.
And that's gonna bring trouble for Empire, that's for sure.
Definitely right about that. And Tiny's farm still looking pretty solid here on net worth. He is number 2 now, just behind the OD. And it looks like a pretty standard opener here. Power treads into Bracer, probably going to be a Drum of Endurance. And then I imagine he'll start working towards that Ag Scepter. And there's the Midas for Hani. Right around that 9-minute mark. It is on the way, so will actually be delivered almost
Double
on point.
coil.
But down bottom, yeah, coil going to be used. The arrow going to fly. Will connect with Era. He's going to be in big trouble here. Silence comes out. That's the end of the Tiny. Fly going to fall as well. So now 2 free kills going to go the way of Empire. It was a 5-man gank, though. 5-man party down here in the bottom. So, pardon me. 4.
Yeah.
Timbersaw. Okay, my mistake. So still a 4-man rotation. And
I love saying 4.
Yeah, 4.
Okay,
4.
So yeah, Empire, 2 kills in a tower. I think that's that was a really good rotation. Oh, maybe not the tower actually. Do they have glyph? No, they don't.
Oh, tower does go down. Recovery kills perhaps. Trixie gonna throw the spear. It is Fly, the port's down. And there's the relocate from Era and No Tail. Moonlight Shadow comes out. Do they have any detection? I don't see anything. No, they don't. That Moonlight Shadow going to be proven effective here, as no sentries, no dust. And they will all survive to tell the tale, though. Moran is still in kind of an awkward position here. Might not be out of the clear yet. There is a ward down here in the jungle, so she has a little bit of vision, but Fly gonna telekinesis her. Doesn't have a leap up quite yet. And gonna get thrown in the Astral. Won't have enough mana to leap, even though it's off cooldown, but maybe. Does have 10 stick charges. Will use it. There's the leap. And not gonna be enough. Gonna get hit in the face by an Elder Titan. That's gotta hurt.
I think that's one of the worst things you can have tossed onto you.
Yeah.
That's pretty scary. I think Pudge takes first place, and then Elder Titan maybe second place of heroes you don't want to have landing on your face. So.
Yeah, maybe that'll be the future of Tiny buffs. They add weight to the heroes, and the more you weigh, the more damage the toss does. Patch 6.89.
It doesn't deal damage.
Could be interesting. But yeah, nice counter kill there.
Yeah, I still feel like Empire did very well there. They escaped the relocate gank, they got the tower, they forced out TPs, and only lost Mirana, but here comes Always Wanna Fly with the haste.
Yeah, I think he'll survive.
Not going to be in trouble just yet, will TP.
Just going to port, no interrupt, and he will survive. So that haste rune, giving him a little bit of survivability. But yeah, tied up 5-5. Now Empire will take a small gold lead, experience lead still the way of Empire, or pardon me, Fnatic, and a lot of that coming from that only tower that has fallen, of course, in favor of Empire here. Now Fnatic, looking like they may want to stay aggressive, posturing about that bottom lane. No Tail is now level 6 though, so relocate will become a reality, or it is a reality here, and Era is level 7, and talk to me about this Tiny build. Actually, no, hold that thought, because there's a relocate up top. They're going to try to make it happen onto Mag here. Timbersaw going to be in big trouble, and that will make for an easy kill. Era going to grab that one. But I wanted to ask you about here this build from Tiny. He did go 4 points in Toss, only 2 in the Avalanche, and I feel like the opposite is usually what we see for the higher damage with that stun. Any thoughts about this Tiny build, or is this standard and I'm just off my rocker here?
I think that's pretty standard when you skill grow, because the damage of Toss scales with the level of your ultimate. So this, I believe this is, as a matter of fact, also because of the raw damage you do with your attacks, this is probably the general way we'll see Era skilling. That doesn't mean it's the only way. You're right. Sometimes you do get Avalanche over Toss, but I actually think this is the more usual build to go for, simply because you want to get the ult for the movement speed and the bonus damage, and then Toss also deals more damage this way.
Yeah.
So
and it's also a lower cooldown by a pretty big margin, 17 versus 9. So maybe that's part of the thought. Can do a little bit more damage. Maybe you can get 2 off instead of what would be just 1 Avalanche. Maybe that's some of it. But yeah, interesting. So Fnatic now still in a pretty good position. They've got a very sizable experience lead, just about 2,500 gold. Geez, I'm all over the place, man. 2,500 experience. Gold graph is just about zeroed out as they're continuing to farm about now. Hani's Midas is starting to kick in. He's got about 2,000 in the bank, and will probably be going for staff first, but there's no mech on the field yet, so maybe he will indeed go for the mech first. I think Fnatic would be wise to grab one, though, as aggression is in their repertoire of strategies here in this match.
I think Mechanism is a very important item for both teams. Empire has a very AoE damage heavy lineup with Puck, Timber, as well as the Mirana, and the mech, importantly, can be used while you're global silenced, so then you actually have something to buy you time to get out of that global. So I think that would be a very nice pickup for Hani. We're going to see as he has the gold for the Mechanism now, hasn't bought anything just yet. Yeah. Could also be discussing a little bit whether or not it's realistic that Trixie gets towards it because he's got the Arcane boots already, has the mana pool to buy them on the Elder Titan now. Yeah. Might be looking to see how the game develops the next few minutes before he really makes his choice, but I think Hani, with the amount of gold he has, he should really be using it and start to have an impact with that hero now, because he's got the kill he got from the lane, and yeah, actually at the bottom he got a couple of assists as well, I believe, out of a fight, so he's doing okay, but having 2,500 gold in the bank doesn't give you anything, so he's gonna probably turn that into something useful.
And we'll see. He is that level 11 as well, just continuing to rack up the farm, basically unchecked in the mid lane here. I mean, Mag is sort of loosely contesting him, but not really, just lingering around to stop him from pushing the tower. Mag only level 9. Hani is now level 11, the highest level in the match by 2 levels. Puck tied for the highest slot on Empire, with the Timbersaw sitting at level 9 as well. So OD definitely doing well here. And wow, he's going to go BKB first, does right-click the Ogre Club and the Mithril Hammer. So we're both going to be proven wrong here. A very interesting build indeed.
Yeah, he's looking to break the global silence, I assume. That's the main reason for it. Break the global silence, as well as pretty much the entirety of Empire's damage is actually magical, since Mirana doesn't have any sort of significant damage yet, so definitely a choice I can agree with. Not what I was expecting, but a little bit of a different style coming out for Hani as well. We generally see him loving to go for those mobility items. Both the Force Staff and the Boots of Travel are favorite items of his, but we'll be going for a little bit of a different style here. Not sure if he needed the BKB first, but I can definitely understand what the reasoning is.
So, and on that note, since we do have sort of a lull in the action here, talk to us about Silencer versus BKB a little bit. I think I know exactly how it works, but I'm going to test my knowledge here. If you have BKB, that is the trump card over Global Silence. If you're Global Silenced, you can BKB out of it. And if you have the BKB on, you are immune to Global Silence. Is that correct?
If you have the BKB on, you can get globaled. It's about who uses it first.
Okay, it's one of those, so...
Yeah, it's like Overgrowth from Treant.
Right,
if you're
exactly.
in BKB, you can get rooted. If you are rooted, you can break it.
So they trump card each other. It's just all about timing. Yes. Save the BKB until you're silenced and you BKB out of it, and vice versa. Okay, perfect to reiterate.
Smoke action.
Yep, I see it here.
They're going to miss each other. Nobody sees the other team. Maybe they're going to meet behind the tier 1 tower mid. That would be a huge win for Fnatic. I think they have a clear positional advantage.
He looks different when he's smoked. See that? You see that?
Yeah. Yeah. Now he looks like some sort of a storm cloud.
Yeah, he's stormy. So yeah, they are actually going to walk right by each other, and the smoke from Empire will be revealed. And both sides actually going to miss a bit of action, though. Empire still have yet to see where Fnatic are. They're smoking up towards the top. And of course, there are no members of Empire up here in the top lane, so this may just be some tier 1 tower exchanging mid for top. And but we'll see. Fnatic are posturing like they may want to defend here. Rubik as well as Elder Titan are back near the mid lane, and now Empire's starting to rotate. So we'll see how this plays out. But BKB now going to come out on the Outworld Devourer, and it looks like Trixie will be the one grabbing the mech. He does have that headdress, and going to have it pretty soon.
I think that was the most important thing for Fnatic with making the decision for OD, was that somebody else had to get that mechanism that I think is the most important item for them right now in this game. So Trixie will be working on it. He's still quite a way off. He's still missing both the buckler as well as the recipe. So about, how much gold does he have to go? About 1,000.
Yeah.
That's the full, he has buckler and 200 and then the recipe for 9. So 1,100 gold, top tier 1 tower will probably go the way of Empire. I don't think Fnatic are going to be in time for this, but going to relocate mid.
Oh, Van Score going to be in trouble. The Moonlight Shadow's out, but they're ready for it this time. I think they have at least Dust, and now Puck going to come in, but they'll be able to finish him before that Moonlight Shadow really makes a big difference. Empire, they will port in, though. It looks like they do want to contest. They finished off that top tier 1, and are they going to catch Era here? He will take an arrow. And oh no, Tiny going to be in big trouble. I think he is going to be slated to fall as Puck hops forward. Tiny does go down. The support not going to be there. Nowhere for him to go. And Wisp did leave him behind, so Will cost him a tiny to pick up that kill on the silencer.
Good trade for Empire, in my opinion, even though they had to TP in for that. Here we go, Resolution's looking for something here.
Oh, no, not going to do it. Just going to hop forward. He still has a Dream Coil available. Puck also did pick up a Blink. I don't know if we made mention of that, but big item pickup for the Dire side. Going to give them some initiation. Very important.
Yep, didn't get to use it just then. It's certainly safe to say that this is a very even game right now. Even though OD is leading on farm and has a Midas, they're still behind on gold, and I'm wondering where this gold is coming from. Oh, now I see. Empire's ahead by 2 towers. Yeah. So it's the tower gold. So about to be fair, about 4,000 XP gold for Fnatic and about 2,500 gold lead should they claim the same amount of towers that Empire has right now. So Fnatic looking good. But
yeah, Hani's still the big breadwinner.
Not in the safe right now.
Yeah, definitely not. Nothing in the bank, but Hani still just continuing to grow that farm. #1 on the net worth chart. Still by a big margin. Sitting at 8K, Puck #2 at only 6K. And he is still the lone Midas carrier here. Going to continue to further his farm, and still very curious to see what he grabs next. I have to imagine a Force Staff will be that second item choice. May want to finish up the boots first, but like you said, Hani loves those mobility items, and with OD, Force Staff just seems like such a necessity. Mech will be picked up here, though. The recipe as well as the buckler, and the rest of that headdress is going to be in the bank. And there, oh, pardon me, that's for Mag. Oh, got him all over the place. Well, still important to note, there is a mech now in the inventory of the Timber Saw, and Trixie's mech is actually pretty close now. He's still off the recipe, so still about 800 gold or so to go. But going to be reasonably timed mechs. I think Fnatic could just avoid fighting for the next moment or two, and well, have a mech and be ready to tango. Now, I want to ask you something else here, Cinderin, as it's been a while since we've seen too much action. Maelstrom first on Mirana. Talk to us about this build a bit.
Mainly an effective way of pushing out lanes. Gives you a lot of more momentum in your speed here. And of course, if the fights develop the way Empire are hoping for, then Mirana can stay in the back and get a lot of attacks off. Since only one hero on Fnatic right now has a BKB, which is OD, the Maelstrom is going to do a lot of damage to the other heroes. It's not something we see that often, and I always have a very hard time giving a good reasoning for why you would get Maelstrom first on a hero, but sometimes it just works, and I think the best reason I can give you right now is that the split pushing potential of Silent and the full damage output he gets in fights is really high right now. It's a cost-effective item for this type of fight in the game right now. Arrow, oh my god, almost hits, but double coil!
Yep, that is going to interrupt the port outs. In comes the global silence. No Tail is still going to be able to relocate, but Era, you're going to get left behind. That taxi service is going to leave without him, and they're going to get a free kill on the Tiny. Well played, excellent. And now they're going to get a kill on the Wisp as well. We see that relocate coming back. The Chakram's ready for it. Going to be a free double kill coming out for Resolution on the Puck. Very nicely done.
It goes to show what the global can do. They tried to save the Tiny with the relocate, but couldn't get the tether off simply because he got globaled when he was trying. So double kill there, and also used the relocate. So we talked about how global silence is going to be used defensively when they relocate in, but this time actually they used aggressively to prevent a relocate out.
Yep.
And very, very nicely played here by Empire. And
yeah.
I feel like if this continues for them, and Fnatic just don't seem to find openings with their IO, which they, in most of their games, they're all over the place with the IO Tiny, but haven't really been able to do much. So yeah. Empire's been doing a very good job at not getting caught off and are getting kills themselves instead. And the Mirana, with this Maelstrom build, like we talked about, will be farming pretty fast. Can also jungle very effectively, of course, with that, apart from on the stupid mud golems. On everything else, she farms fast. So it's looking okay. But once again, we need to remember Mirana is the solo carry for Empire. There's a lot of pressure on Solid to be able to carry later on against an IO Tiny combination with an OD.
Yeah.
So I feel like Empire, they're doing great, but they have to do more. I don't think it's enough right now. Fnatic are still leading, and they're gaining on gold as well.
Yeah, and a lot of it's that OD. They've done a good job shutting down Tiny. He's taken a couple of spills. He is 4-3-1, but OD 1-0-4, and we had that net worth tab open quite a bit, and that gap between him and Puck is continuing to grow. It was 2,000, and now it's upwards of over 3,000, actually almost 3.5k. So Hani is going to be the big one that they're going to have to deal with here. Another 2.3k in the bank, and it'll be even more as that Midas is off cooldown. So I see some people in chat saying that we're biased bias here for Fnatic, and I don't know. I mean, maybe it sounds like it, but I think they're still just in a very good position. Having an OD who's really gone unchecked for the first 20 minutes of this match always makes me scary. I don't care what team he's on. That OD is a force to be reckoned with, and maybe we'll see it displayed for us up here. Mirana gonna get put into an Astral. There's the relocate.
Oh, nicely.
Oh, wow, well done by Silent. The Sanity's Eclipse will connect, and the Spirit's almost enough. The toss gonna be there to finish it off, so that will be a kill, and a lot of that damage did come out of the OD, and point in case right there.
Dire's bottom tower
It was
is under attack.
actually very close to getting away from that.
Yeah.
Timing the leap perfectly to not get hit by the avalanche, but did
Good
not
reaction.
manage to escape just there. And, well, Empire might be looking for something of their own down here in the bottom lane. We've got a rotation coming in from Puck here. Resolution will come in behind here, or will at least get the vision, but is not feeling certain about whether he can go on this or not. Now, worth noting is Fnatic do not have their bottom tier 1 tower, so there's no TP support available here in that kind of position should Puck decide to go there, so...
Yeah.
But he didn't have enough backup himself either. Didn't manage to pull it off. Now, always want to fly is going to get a disruption off. No follow-up, though. Oh, is there?
An
Demonic
orb,
Purge.
2 orbs coming out here, and nope, nothing else going to transpire. Rubik stealing the orb. Always funny when you see the back-to-back spells like that, one stolen from Rubik. But, yeah, one of the scarier things that Empire are going to have to deal with as well. Tiny very close to that Egg Scepter, and maybe after this creep camp, it was double stacked, he's going to have enough gold for it. Going to have that Blade of Alacrity, and the Courier going to be bringing over his goodies. So now he's going to uproot one of those treants, and he'll have some cleave, and that makes Tiny a much scarier force. As we were talking about, the Global Silence is great to stop the stuns and the relocates, but will not stop Tiny from punching you in the face with that big old tree.
Very true, and this is, I feel like Empire has done a really good job, and they need to keep smoking and finding these kind of pickoffs, because Fnatic are gaining, I've said it a couple of times, they are gaining more, but that's simply because it's the most important story of the game. We haven't had too many kills. 16 kills in 24 minutes is not that high compared to the standards of how many kills we generally get these days, but when it goes like that, the team with the better economy is simply going to be at an advantage, and Empire are not getting as much as Fnatic are. So unless if they start making moves, maybe trying for a Roshan, although they don't have too good heroes for that, Fnatic are fine with just farming. I don't think they mind the pace of the game right now, because they know in late game the amount of options they have with an IO together with Tiny, as well as a super farmed OD, is probably more than what Empire can bring to the table. And one thing I would love to see is more action with Dream Coil. They have Dream Coil into Global Silence, so should they get a fight, they have incredible initiation and lockdown. There's no option for Fnatic to really turn around on them. If they get a couple of heroes in a Dream Call and then pop the Global Silence, the only thing Fnatic has is a BKB from OD and then one Astral to save one guy. Well, so here we go. They are going to do exactly that.
Gonna take
and No-Tail is probably not long for life here.
And the smoke going to be used. They're going to hop forward. No-Tail in big trouble. The Waning Rift comes in. Chakram going to be off the mark. But in comes Silent as he leaps forward. That's going to be the end of the Wisp.
1 for 1, though.
But wow, Tiny going to be able to finish off Silencer off to the side as he does isolate him. So it makes it a 1 for 1, and that is, I would just call that a win for Fnatic. I mean, Tiny getting a kill. That was solo XP going the way of Tiny, and that was a 4-man gank, 5-man gank, essentially, to kill the Wisp. Though it's not over yet. They are going to rotate mid, and Trixie in big trouble as the Dream Coil comes out. Now Fly might be in trouble as well. Resolution going to hop forward. Fly will burn the dust as Moonlight Shadow is out. Maybe going to make things a little bit easier for the support that's inbound. Era and Hani going to be joining him. They're not going to find it, though. Puck going to move into the Radiant Secret Shop, and the rest of Empire are going to turn and head towards their side of the map. So that'll be the end of it. Puck going to port out, and that's it. So a 1 for 2, I guess, when it all settles down, as Elder Titan also took a spill.
Worth noting as well, Empire did deny the mid-tier 1 tower mag on the Timbersaw, getting that deny. Oh, wait a second, they're gonna... Okay, never mind. It's just backdooring a tower here.
Oh, okay. Oh, Glyph actually comes out.
Oh, maybe not.
Some ports.
Maybe they won't get away with this.
Okay, Era gonna throw the Avalanche. He is gonna get another attack off. The tower does fall. Now No-Tail gonna tether up, and they will make it out. Oh, the disruption. Even if you're disrupted and the relocate's already going, doesn't stop it and they hop out.
Slightly mistimed there on the Global Silence, but it's really hard to use it correctly there since they lost vision of the IO. They didn't know exactly where he was, and of course want to use it before the tether comes off so that he can't relocate Era out. But well played here from Fnatic, not getting a casualty. They did get the tower as well. It didn't get denied. Tiny got that one. So, and now Empire is going to go for Roshan, and this is what I was asking for earlier, because it's all good that they smoke up and get kills, but they need to get objectives. They're now behind on towers, which they were leading on 2-0, and they haven't taken Roshan's the Dire at 27 minutes, so really need to get something more than just these ganks, especially the way the farm is going. And this Roshan, I think, did get pinged by Fly. They might be in Roshan, guys, but Fnatic are going to concede it. They can't go in here. It's too late. And a very important pickup here.
You know, I would have thought that they could try to do that. I mean, Puck is there with the Dream Coil, but Global Silence is down, and that would be the big deterrent. Obviously, they saw it burned in an effort to try and defend that bottom tier 1. But, yeah, I guess they're just going to let it go.
Yep.
A little surprised,
big pick
honestly.
Up for Empire. Would like to see them, once again, convert it into something more. Now, Hani has a Scythe of Vice on the OD, and the BKB on Mirana is still not up. So, Hani.
Gonna be in
a
trouble.
bad spot here. Doesn't have a repositioning item. He's gonna be in a hell of a lot of trouble. We'll probably get a kill. Oh, maybe not. Oh my goodness, the damage.
Wow, there's the relocate.
No trouble for him. Trouble for the others.
Yeah, he's got that BKB. He's got the Sheepstick as well. No fear as the support comes. It is going to be an easy 2 for 0. Only 2 kills on the supports, but very convincing.
Relocate gaming right there.
Yeah.
Saving Hani. Actually, might have just been a bait he pulled off on purpose. He might have wanted to do that, just go in and see if he found anyone, and if he did, he knew they were on backup, because Global Silence was on cooldown. He had Hex available, he had BKB available, and of course with that backup double TP with the relocate, made that very easy. Now Trixie in the mid lane is going to get blocked a bit by Mag here. Very nice use of the Chakram, very slow. Trixie arrow is going to be off the mark though, and he might survive this. Oh
wow.
Dear, missed that arrow. Kind of surprising, because that was a very slowed Elder Titan. He was down to like 20% HP, so the effective slow from Chakram about 80%.
Yeah, and the Astral going to scout out Resolution. I like that play from Trixie as he turns to about face, scouts out the Puck, actually going to use the Echo Stomp, and now Resolution, phase shift, will be able to blink backwards and will survive. Fly, he's going to leap forward. It was stolen from the Mirana. Going to telekinesis him backwards. Resolution with the Blink Dagger on cooldown, actually going to burn the Dream Coil onto Fly. A little bit surprising, but I guess a bit intimidated, wanted to burn it to make sure he could survive. And, well, he does make it out, so at least he does survive to tell the tale. Now, Era and No Tail could be under some pressure down here in the bottom. They are tethered up, and they are just chipping away at this bottom tier 2 tower. No glyph available, and the Global Silence going to be used. No Tail is going to hop out. He will scoot backwards. And Era just going to be able to stand his ground for now. He's got a BKB now, so he's going to be A-OK. And he's just going to try and turn and do some damage here. He does not have detection, though, as the Moonlight Shadow comes, and he won't be able to secure these kills. Fly going to come in. There's the Dust. Going to connect with at least a couple of the members. Always want to Fly. Going to be the target of choice. Hani going to use the Sheepstick. That's the end of the Shadow Demon. The tower has fallen, and now Fnatic just going to press forward. The tower actually wasn't denied either. So, a nice stun coming out onto Era that will help keep Empire alive, but I think Fnatic will be happy with a free kill on the Shadow Demon, as well as a tier 1 tower kill.
Might be able to, I don't know, actually, there's no collateral here. I don't think Fnatic can get more out of this. The mid-tier 2 tower actually may be up for grabs here, if they want to continue pushing, because they're in a pretty dominant position already, but I'm not sure it's time for this just yet. Actually, are going to let Era go and hit it a little bit, but Hani is nowhere to be found. He's very far away, and they will back off. And why is this? Oh my god, that arrow almost hit No Tail mid-tether. But yeah, Fnatic getting away with it, getting more on the farm. Hani, by the looks of it, building into either a Lincoln Sphere or a Refresher Orb. Yeah. I'm assuming it's the last. I think that's going to be a really good pickup here, just to get double Hex and double ult. Has the mana pool for it at this point.
Yeah, I think Lincolns will be overkill with that BKB first.
I feel like the problem right now is Empire lack damage. I think that's the simplest way to put it right now. Oh, Silence gonna get hexed, relocated upon. Does have the Aegis of the Immortal, but no Global Silence is available. I think they might be able to kill him twice, maybe not. Support's coming in from Shadow Demon.
He does also have BKB and Leap, so that might make his time a little easier here. The Disruption gonna be used on the Tiny, the relocate out, and he will survive as that arrow was gonna connect. Hani, BKB on, does have a Sanity's Eclipse. They're gonna burn it, gonna do a lot of damage here. Is Hani gonna be able to stand his ground in a 1v5? Earth Splitter comes, down goes the Shadow Demon. Resolution in big trouble. It is gonna cost Hani his life, but he still did a hell of a lot of damage here. A Sentry Ward is down. I believe it's a dire Sentry Ward as Moonlight Shadow comes, and now Fnatic gonna be in disarray a little bit, but they were dusted. And No Tail gonna bring Era in. That's gonna be the end of the Timber Soul. Mirana has already fallen, and Vanscore, the lone survivor, and it's not gonna be for long. He is gonna fall. Oh boy, that OD. He is one beast. He did go down, but at least a 4-man, if not 5-man Sanity's Eclipse, just crippling Empire in that fight. Simply
the farm advantage here. Excellent play from Hani as well, but the reason that hurts so much is that he's an item ahead. It's that Hex that he has up on the Mirana, pretty much, that just makes the fight there. Having that extra 35 intelligence on the ultimate is a hell of a lot of damage. And Empire can't fight back well enough. You saw how long it took them to take down the OD when OD was in BKB, because they don't have damage. The only damage dealer is Mirana, but she has Maelstrom and BKB, which is very, very inefficient in terms of cost for dealing damage to heroes. So,
and also doesn't do much against that OD int difference here. Absolutely
exactly.
No
that's really the biggest problem. That's kind of the main issue for Empire is they've done well in the early mid game. They've taken a couple of objectives. They've had decent map control the whole game. They've got Roshan, but they can't kill heroes with their lineup right now. When the BKBs come up, Silent needs to have a Daedalus right now, and maybe an MKB. Of course, he won't have that farm at 32 minutes, but it's kind of what I feel like Silent needs to have now to be able to fight Fnatic's advantage at this point. 2 damage items, 1 isn't going to cut it. And Vanscore is going to all-chat the interval in which Roshan is going to spawn, in case Fnatic wasn't sure about it. A little bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, at shift enter, I guess. So I guess we were wrong about the refresher though. Ultimate Orb going to be in the bank for OD, so it is going to be a Linken's. Hani looking for a little bit more survivability here, and also an Assault Kuras is going to be coming in pretty soon for the Tiny. He did grab that BKB following the Ags, and going to have the Hyperstone as well as the Recipe already purchased, so just farming up for those 2 armor items, and that will be another big aura on the field. And I don't think we mentioned this, I noticed it, and then a bit of action heated up. Vlad's offering now out on the Wisp, and I really like that choice here, especially with a Tiny on the field. Item that I feel underrated a bit. Some teams don't utilize as much as they should, and I'm glad to see No-Tail grabbing it nice and early here.
And one problem for him, though, is that he has very low HP. When you get an item like Vlad's on a support, your HP pool is pretty low. But it doesn't matter too much for him as long as he has the positioning that he has had in the last fight. He can stand so far back because there's plenty of heroes to go in front. Tiny is nigh immortal at this stage because of said lack of damage on Empire. OD, the same story. And I'm not sure what Hani's reasoning is behind getting this Linken's, actually. I think the main reason that it's good here is if you are in BKB, you can't get Demonic Purge, so he's actually free to move. The Linken's will take that Purge through the BKB, and then nothing else can really go through. So overall, that, and of course,
will stop
good
the global silence. Yeah.
Doesn't stop the global, though.
It does not stop global silence.
No.
Oh boy, I'm all over. We don't see Silencer enough.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
he still has to use the BKB to break that, unless if I'm really wrong on that, but I'm fairly confident that
I was fairly confident the other way, but last time I saw Silencer, nobody grabbed a Linken, so I can't say from anecdotal
is this going to be deja vu here? Top lane.
And he has the Linken's now, too.
I've seen this before in this game.
I've seen this before. Hani, pretty crafty positioning here. Assault Kuras now complete on the Tiny, so this could be, like last time, though, even worse. And we see some...
He's waiting for the relocate. Here we go.
On the map. They're going to go straight in onto Silent and relocate right on top. That's going to be a dead Mirana to start things off. And now what's Empire going to do? They're stationed over the trees here. They look like they want to do something. Global Silence still available. They didn't burn anything to try and keep Mirana alive. The relocate out. They will leave Tiny behind. And Empire just going to rotate towards mid.
Yeah, they have to concede this. They can't really do anything about it. And I think Fnatic will maybe... Actually, no, they're going to fight mid.
Resolution being very aggressive here. Will throw the Dream Coil. Follow-up is going to be inbound. And there's the global. Want to check. All right, you were right about the Linken's, my friend. He is silenced. Did not proc the Linken's. Good call on that. Elder Titan will fall. And up top, though, Hani as well as Era just taking out this tier 3 tower. The glyph comes out, but they're doing a lot of damage here. And Empire really not in a great position to try and defend this. The tier 3 is going to go down. The defensive Astral comes out. And now that the glyph is burned, if Fnatic rotate up here, it looks like they might be able to just grab a set of racks. Mirana will be coming up in 2 seconds, but oh no, Mag going to get sheeped. He's going to get killed in a matter of seconds. The Moonlight Shadow comes, but won't be enough. They don't have the cooldowns. Dream Coil down also. I don't know how they're going to defend this lane of racks. Timbersaw will buy back.
Resolution, though. They're doing a lot of damage to Era here because of that Soul Catcher.
Oh, nice, there's the Sanity's Eclipse, and it is going to be a BKB Silent, so he will be able to survive. Mag not going to be so lucky. Puck going to be able to finish off the Rubik, and now Fnatic actually in a little bit of trouble. Hani just stand his ground, no other option. One more auto attack would have been able to finish off Silent, but he is going to fall, so I was way mistaken. Maybe that was a little bit of Fnatic bias, folks. I'll give you that one. They do not take the racks. Empire with a nice hold, and unfortunately for Mag, though, that was a dieback. He bought back and then died again. So although they do hold, it did cost their Timbersaw a pretty penny.
I would have also thought Fnatic were getting Rex there, but very nicely played by Empire to keep themselves alive in this game, getting those 2 kills, especially the kill on Hani, worth quite a lot of gold going the way of Silencer. He gets a 514 bonus there out of that, but I think Empire are in a position where Silencer is actually going to need to transition into a semi-carry or a carry here for later on in the game, so they have significant damage. The only problem is a lot of Silencer's damage as a carry as well is pure damage, so BKB does block it. And those Glaives of Wisdom, of course, are the tool for that. And now, Silent will get a Demon Edge. We're gonna see whether he gets the MKB or Daedalus. I think Daedalus is the right choice here. I think, especially with the attack speed he has from Maelstrom, he's gonna have a pretty high chance of getting a couple of critical strikes off. And I don't think the MKB damage is enough, especially against the tankiness that Fnatic bring to the table on a Tiny with Overcharge. Yeah. They're gonna need some big deal here out of Silent.
And that Tiny really does have a lot of armor here. 25 right now, as he does have the Assault Cuirass in tow, and of course the craggy exterior, giving a little bit of bonus armor there. And Tiny is just going to transition into hard carry. He now has a Crystallis of his own, critting for 635 on those creeps. So that is one hard-hitting rock. And speaking of other items, No Tail now going to grab himself a Yule's Scepter of Divinity. So not going to help that HP buffer that you were talking about, but will give him a good bit of utility and, of course, a hell of a lot of movement speed here. And Puck does also have that sheep stick. I think he may have had it a few moments ago, but does have it nonetheless. And interestingly enough, Trixie going to grab a very late Midas. That was his next item.
Uh-oh, Empire.
Uh-oh, Hani going to get the sheep stick off onto the Timber Saw. He's going to fall again. The Moonlight Shadow flies, and well, it may buy him a little bit of time here, but nope, not very much. Down he goes. Do they have a gem? Yes, they do. Fly going to have it in the inventory. So now Moonlight Shadow not going to be nearly as useful. A 2-for-0, very easy set of kills for Fnatic, and they're just going to move straight into the Roche Pit, which I think is a good call.
Yeah, they're a little bit too far off getting the top barracks right now, simply because of the creep wave being pushed on their side of the river. So this is the best objective they can get at this point. We'll have to sell for a Roshan. I'm sure they would have rather had the barracks. The Aegis isn't really the best thing for them now compared to barracks, but I guess one thing will enable the other. Whatever way you look at it.
Yeah,
or maybe not. Oh, okay. That was a little weird. Arrow was... Yeah, he was being a little bit cautious there that it didn't get stolen. Might have tried a snipe there with the puck, so he pulled it away instead. And does kill it off here, so...
They lost their courier, too. I missed where that happened, but Fnatic's courier got picked, which was sort of strange, but yeah, that net worth chart is really scary. I mean, the graph's equally scary here, about 20,000 gold lead, 20,000 experience as well. Fnatic really in great shape. Tiny going to have that Daedalus recipe and actually does have enough to grab the Demon Edge itself. So probably going to save up for buyback here, but he does have the Aegis, so, or Aegis.
Yeah, Aegis. Or Aegis.
Yep. Glyph's still not up for Empire.
Here
so
we go.
Tiny just destroying these racks.
That's another thing about the Lincolns, of course. He can give it to his ally.
Yep.
Here we go. Hex and No Tail. That's a good kill if they can get it.
I'm not sure if they can. They're going to have to commit a lot for it. He is going to be able to Yules himself. Marana hops forward to try and finish him off, and it's not going to happen. Silent gets killed, does buy back straight away. Now Vanscore going to fall. Elder Titan doing a lot of damage here. Down goes the Shadow Demon. A buyback here coming out is, well, did someone else just buy back? Oh, that was a suicide from the Timber Saw. My apologies. I thought that was a buyback. But alas, it's still on cooldown, and yeah, a 2v5 on the field. I don't think they can fend this off, and there it is. GG, well played. I think well timed is Fnatic just going to be able to rotate towards mid, and at this point, Tiny, he just hits so damn hard, these structures just fall like butter to a warm knife.
Fnatic, they had a gauntlet of 3 games. They took all 3, defeating the end boss, we could say, in Empire as well. Was arguably the hardest game today, even though it still, at the end, looks pretty one-sided because of the advantages they got. But Empire put up a pretty good fight in the early game, didn't manage to really turn it into too much mid and late game-wise, though, and Fnatic really continuing their dominant streak. And unfortunately for Empire, this is probably the end of their hopes of getting a top 4 finish here in Starladder Season 8. So they will not be going to the LAN unless there are going to be some sort of replacements because of visa issues or inability to show up for the tournament. So sadly for Empire, they've had a good run so far. They're still having a pretty good score with their 8-5, I believe it is now. Still a pretty good score, or no, 7-5. Pardon me. It's going to be their current score. So still looking all right at the higher end of the middle of the field, I guess we could say. And we'll see what the rest of the tournament holds for them. But Fnatic, They're at least continuing their roll towards a very solid performance in this tournament. They're now 8-2, I believe, after that gauntlet. So
that is right.
Looking to be
not over quite yet. They will have
here.
Another very difficult match coming up. Game 6 of 7 today will be Fnatic versus Na'Vi. So that will be the ultimate challenge. Can Fnatic take down Na'Vi? And I think they certainly have the skills to do so. It will be a matter of execution. A great match we can look forward to. Empire, though, going to be here in our next match coming up. Game 4 for the day. It will be Empire versus Sigma. So another rough one for Empire coming up, and we'll see how they fare. And then after that, of course, it will be Sigma versus QPad. So still plenty more Dota coming your way here on this Sunday afternoon. Thank you for joining us on Beyond the Summit. I am Zyori. With me is Synderin, and we've got a lot more Starladder Dota 2 action coming your way after this short break.